What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of The Garden. How are my fellow gardeners? Wait, did I low-key just come up with a nickname for my listeners? What do we think? Yes? No? I kind of like it. My fellow gardeners. Gardeners spend time in the garden. Anyway, let's think on it. I kind of like it. How is it going? How are you? I hope you're doing good. Are you feeling tired today? This week? Have you been feeling tired for so long you don't even remember when it started? If so, I'm talking to you. And if it's not you, don't go anywhere because chances are you're probably going to need this later. And that's just the simple fact of life. I hate to break it to you. We get tired. And you know what normal people do when they get tired? They rest. Don't even say it. I know what you're thinking. Taryn, I don't have time for rest. Taryn, I have too much to do. If I don't do it, it won't get done. I rest when I sleep. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Whatever you're thinking, I know it. Don't even say it. I get it. I do it too. But I have gotten a lot better at not coming up with excuses not to rest, though. Because rest is biblical. God created the world in 6 days, and on the seventh day, guess what? He rested. How about in Matthew 8:23 through 36? It says, don't worry, I'll read it to you. And when he got into the boat, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great storm on the sea, so that the boat was being swamped by the waves. But he was asleep. And they went and woke him, saying, Save us, Lord, we are perishing. And he said to them, Why are you afraid, O you of little faith? Then he rose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. And the men marveled, saying, What sort of man is this, that even winds and sea obey him? The most I figure you guys have probably heard that before. The most common takeaway from those verses are that the wind and sea obeyed him. But what I think is also super cool is that right in the midst of the storm, he was asleep. He was resting. His mind and heart were peaceful enough, trusting in the love and care of his Father in heaven, that he could sleep in the storm. I want to be there. I want to have that much trust and confidence in the Lord that I can just sleep in the middle of the storm. There's a phrase I've heard quite a few times lately, and it says a person who cannot rest is a person who doesn't fully trust in God. That doesn't mean don't do anything, but it means you do what you can. When you can. I can assure you that whatever it is, it's going to be there tomorrow. Again, I'm not saying neglect your responsibilities, but we live in this fast-paced society and we feel as if we don't keep up, we're failing. I've gotten a lot better at learning to rest. I definitely have room for improvement, but I have gotten better. But I sometimes find myself feeling guilty for the rest I take. I start believing these lies that I'm only 22, I don't have near as much on my plate as them. I don't deserve to rest. They have kids and a spouse. If they're not resting, I shouldn't be either. I feel guilty that my phone goes on Do Not Disturb at 10 p.m. I feel guilty when I sleep in, when I take a nap, when I say no to plans because it's my resting time. But I shouldn't feel guilty at all. And you shouldn't either. If we keep pushing ourselves to the max, it will catch up to us. We'll get cranky from lack of sleep, which affects everyone else we're around too. Lack of sleep leads to sickness, which then makes it so we're unable to even be useful. If it makes you feel any better, say you're doing it for the benefit of those around you. If you won't do it for you, do it for them. They'll appreciate it, I promise. But I hope you learn to do it for you too, because you alone are worth it. Your sanity, your health, your happiness, your patience, your self-control, every single one of the fruits of the Spirit in which we're supposed to exemplify every day as children of God depend on us having adequate rest. Matthew 11:28 through 30 says, flipped past it. There you are. 28 through 30 says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." I know that's another than one that we've all heard. Maybe you just heard that for the first time. For y'all that don't know what a yolk is, I'm not talking about an egg. That's a yolk, Y-O-L-K. Yoke referred here is Y-O-K-E, which is a wooden beam used between a pair of oxes or other animals to enable them to pull together on a load when working in pairs. So, back in those days when training a new animal, such as an ox, to plow, farmers often yoked it to an older, stronger, more experienced animal who bore the burden and guided the young animal through the learning process. This isn't a call to a lazy or indulgent life. There is still a yoke to bear and a burden to carry, yet with and in Jesus they are easy and light. Jesus' yoke is easy, not because it makes lighter demands, but because it represents entering into a disciple relationship. If your yoke is hard and burden is heavy, it's probably simply because you aren't letting him bear it with you. Jesus said it plainly, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light." The yoke of Jesus is easy and light as compared with the yoke of others. It's easy and light as long as we do not rebel against it. And the yoke of Jesus does not include the burdens we choose to add to it. I want to encourage you to take time today and let him bear it with you. Whatever it is, rest in him, rest on him, and rest. And I never want to advise you to do something and not give you tools or tell you how. So here are a list of practical things and some things that I do or have done that I hope will also help you rest. Listen to worship music while you're getting ready for the day. It's amazing when we put the right things in our brains and into our body. Our body and our brains are going to give out the right things. What you put in, you will get out. If you're not listening to uplifting, encouraging things, you're probably not going to be very uplifted and encouraged. And you're not going to be uplifting and encouraging to others. And you may be getting ready and think, I'm not even really listening to the words. But you're listening to them more than you think. And the simple peacefulness behind worship music, it will change the way you go about your day. I promise you. There has never been a day when I started my day with worship music that I didn't feel happier and lighter throughout the day because of it. Listen to a Christian podcast while you're getting ready or during your drive. Again, even if it's while you're getting ready and you're like, I'm not really paying attention to what they're saying, you're taking in more than you think you are. You're absorbing more than you think you are. And that encouragement and that whatever they're talking about is going to uplift your spirit. And it's going to help you walk in a spirit of excellence throughout your day. And you're going to feel lighter. Read the Bible, which I know sounds daunting. I get that. You're like, where do I start? Read the Bible. It's so easier said than done. It is. And I get that. So let me help you. One thing that we've been doing in my church this year is we've I don't know why I blinked for a second. We've been doing a shorter book of the Bible each month, and we've been studying it and deep diving into it. So some of those are Haggai, we're in right now, Philemon, Habakkuk, Ruth. We did I don't remember. We've done others. Obviously, we're in the 10th month, but I can't think of them right off the top of my head. Those are some. Proverbs is a really good one. There are 30 chapters, I'm pretty sure, which is like read a chapter a day. It's known as the Book of Wisdom. It's a great one. James is one of my personal favorites. I think you really, there's a lot of books of the Bible where you get to learn the true heart of God, but that's definitely one of them, and I love it. Jonah, that's one of the ones we've studied. That's a great one, and one of my personal favorites as well. You just have to find a story in the Bible that you want to study. Look up stories in the Bible and be like, I want to study that one. Or whatever. The genealogies are important, but they're probably not going to be where you want to start. Well, let's just be honest. I don't recommend skipping them necessarily in your whole reading of the Bible, but maybe don't start there because you might not go back. Talk about daunting. You want to skip them, but you shouldn't. Just come back to them another time. Don't start there. It's probably not necessarily going to be what gets you through the day, if we're being honest. If you don't have time to sit and read, which you do, believe it or not, you have time. No matter how much you're thinking that you don't, you have the time. But maybe you're more of a listener. On the Bible app, there's an option to listen to it audio. Listen to the audio person. What is going on with my words? The person will read it to you. Like story time. There you go. Listen to it on your way to work. Listen to it while you're in the gym. Listen to it while you're getting ready, if that's easier for you. Now, some ways to find rest. Not necessarily in the Bible, but in just like everyday life. Pick a time for your phone to go on Do Not Disturb. My phone goes on Do Not Disturb at 10 p.m. I don't have a spouse. I don't have kids. So it goes a little later. If you have a spouse and kids, I'd probably recommend whatever time your kids go to bed or whatever time dinner is. I don't know. Whatever works for you. Whatever time you want to just have full focus on your household, pick that time. And if you look at your notifications after it goes on Do Not Disturb, that's between you and Jesus. But try to be intentional about, okay, I'm done. I'm putting my phone away. It's on Do Not Disturb. If anyone hasn't needed me by now, that's on them. I have it so where like my parents and my niece, they're on my favorites list. So even if my phone is on Do Not Disturb, if they call me, it will ring through. So obviously if there's an emergency, make it so your emergency contacts can reach you. Turn off your social media notifications. Oh my gosh, I have done this and it has changed my life. I turned off my Instagram. I've always had my Facebook notifications off because that's just too much. But I turned off my Instagram notifications, and I find myself getting on Instagram and Facebook so much less. Like, I look at my user time, the time you spend on social media, you know, how your phone tracks all that. I look at that and I spend so much less time on there since I've done that. Because I'll be going throughout my day and I'm not seeing a notification, so out of sight, out of mind, I'm not thinking about it, I'm not getting on it. And it's just so nice. 10 out of 10 recommend. Next, learn to say no. No is a full sentence. I heard that this year and it kind of changed everything for me. Because no is a full sentence. And you don't need to justify it or explain your no. Just say no. Then, period. No. That's it. Do you want to do this or whatever? Why? No. Because if that's your resting time, don't compromise your rest for something you don't even want to do. Just say no. It's okay. Call a life-giving friend. It is amazing how much a conversation with the right person can fill your cup. Truly amazing. I have people that I will call or text or send a voice memo to, and they're just life-giving people. And it can sometimes just be as simple as that, putting yourself in the presence of someone who's just going to lift your spirit. And even though you're talking or you're listening, you still feel rested when you leave their presence. You feel like you can take a deep breath. Go for a walk. Maybe 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. Whatever you need. Just go for a walk. Out in the fresh air, out in the sunshine. Go for a walk. By yourself, with your spouse, if you want to do that. Just with your dog, whoever, whatever. Just go for a walk. One, the sunshine and the fresh air is going to improve your all-around well-being. We talked about that last episode. And again, you'll be able to just take a deep breath and relax. And sometimes you just need a few minutes alone to just meditate in the presence of God. Set aside time alone. It's okay to prioritize you, because if there's nothing left in you to give, then you can't give anything. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And I know I've said that before, but it deserves to be said again. Because you can't. You cannot pour from an empty cup. There's nothing there. You need to figure out what works for you, what provides rest for you. Whatever it is, if it's any of the things I listed, maybe it's something completely different. Sometimes I just need to go for a drive by myself. Driving helps me rest. And some people might think I'm crazy for that, but that's just me. Go to coffee or lunch with a friend. Go to Walmart and leave your kids with your mom or your husband or whatever. Go to Walmart by yourself. Whatever allows you to take a deep breath. And whatever is going to allow you to come back to the situation calmer and rested. And if you're a bath person, 10 out of 10 recommend taking a bath. A nice bubble bath, light some candles, and just soak. Pick something that helps you take a deep breath. Don't feel guilty, and rest. Nobody wants the version of you that isn't rested, because it's not really going to benefit anyone. And it's definitely not going to benefit you. Let me just shoot you straight. There are busy seasons that we go through, but our busy season should not be a lifestyle. Going nonstop should not be a lifestyle. It's simply not biblical. But also, it's not life-giving. And there's too much life to live to just go nonstop and not stop and smell the roses. You'll be glad you did. You'll be happier that you did. Catch your breath. Just stop and rest. Whatever that means for you, whatever that looks like for you, whatever helps you do that to your full whatever helps you do that to your full potential. Take a deep breath and rest. And that's what I want you to do today. That's what I want you to figure out how to do every day. And there are going to be days where you rest more than others, and there are going to be days where you don't rest at all. But resting should be a part of your schedule. Set aside a time in your calendar. I put everything in my calendar. Set aside a time in your calendar from whatever, I don't know. Set 30 minutes and just label it rest. And allot time for it. Set aside time for it. If that's what you have to do, if that's what's going to help you and hold you accountable to rest, then do that. Okay, it's time for me to rest. I'm going to read my Bible for the next 30 minutes. Or I'm going to listen to a podcast for the next 30 minutes. Or I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to call a friend. Whatever you got to do. but it will make a difference. And you gotta do it. Your body needs it. Your soul needs it. And everyone else would prefer it too. So, that's all I got for you today. I don't even think I said my name whenever we started this. But I am Taryn Balzana, and I'm your host. Just FYI. In case you're here for the first time, I'm sorry that I did not introduce myself. Clearly, I was just a little excited about the topic. But I'm Taryn Balzana, and I'm your host. This is the garden where you don't have to go alone because we're all growing too. We're figuring this thing out together. And I love you guys so much. And I hope you find a way to rest today. I would love to hear how you rested today, actually. So please feel free to comment below or message me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever and tell me how you rested today. Maybe it's something I've never even thought about. I want to know what works for you. Everybody is different, and I would love to hear how you rested today. So there you go. Consider it a challenge. Tell me how you rested today. I want to know. Give it to me. Let's hear it. I love you guys so much. And I can't wait to hear how you rested today. I will see you guys next week. Bye.